Hey gang, Mr. Jenkins here with your next lesson in chapter 4. Just like 4.4, we're going to spend a couple days on 4.5. So this is kind of the first part of it. It's all about being able to write a function rule, and we're probably starting with the easy part. So I guess that's not a bad thing. So kind of a skill we've worked on quite a bit already. But kind of taking word phrases and turning them into expressions and equations. That's what this is. The lesson after this will be more like if I give you a table of values, then you can write a rule for it. So that's a little bit harder. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to the easier stuff. So example 1A says that you could estimate the temperature by counting the number of chirps of a cricket. The outdoor temperature is about 40 degrees more than 1/4 the number of chirps the cricket makes in 1 minute. What is a function rule that represents this situation? So I guess the hardest part is going to be coming up with the variables and what goes where. All right, so you got to know first of all that there are two variables in this situation that one depends on the other. Okay, so what would those be? What can change? So I would say the number of chirps a cricket can make would be 1. So we'll let n be number of chirps. So what else changes? What else can change? That would be the temperature can change. So that would be temperature. I'm assuming that we're talking about Fahrenheit here. Yeah, it says degrees Fahrenheit. So that's in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so then you have to figure out which one is my input and which one is my output, right? Which one depends on the other. Okay, so in this scenario, we want to write it like T, the temperature is determined by the number of chirps, right? So it says, basically right here is where it tells you. The outdoor temperature is about 40 more than 1/4 the number of chirps, right? So depending on the number of chirps, the temperature is this. All right, so T depends on C. All right, so that means that T is my output, what we normally call Y. C is my input, or what we normally call X. Okay, that's how we're going to structure our equation. So a linear equation normally says Y equals, so our equation we know is going to say T is equal to, just like it would say Y is equal to. And then we want to look back at this first sentence, and here's where our expression writing comes in. It says T equals, so T equals 40 more than, okay, so that'd be a constant, plus 40. And then 1/4 the number of chirps, right? So that could be 1/4 times C, or you could say C over 4, either way. So anyways, all together then, that would be 1/4 C plus 40. So that is going to be our function rule for that scenario. Now, this is one of those skills that like either you kind of get it or you don't, right? So you may need to ask for a lot of help on this, right? You may see people around you getting it and you not. I promise you, you're not the only one. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for help, either from me or from somebody around you. All right, next one says Y is less than da 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 da. On this one, Y depends on X. So we're going to say Y equals. Y is another clue there. So 5 less than, that's take away 5, not 5 take away. And then the product of 4 and X, that'd just be 4 times X. So we would normally just say 4 times X, or 4X minus 5. The only other way you could really write that would be Y equals -5 plus 4X, but that just kind of looks weird. I'll leave C for you guys to try on your own and then check in the notes. Okay, that's a really good practice to have. I know you're going to have Math Excel problems, but if you can try these and check them, that's a good way to stay focused. All right, so now we're going to write and then evaluate. So they throw in an extra step here. It says a kennel charges $15 per day to board dogs. Upon arrival, each dog must have a flea bath that costs $12. Write a function rule for the total cost for n days. So I'm going to go ahead and say those are our two variables. So cost depends on days, which makes sense. The longer your pet stays at the kennel, the more it's going to cost. So we'll let C stand for cost and D stand for days. Actually, they tell us. Okay, so they actually tell us to use N for days. So you got to be careful with that on Math Excel too, because if you use the wrong letter, they will count it wrong, unfortunately. So because they say use N for days, we'll use N for days. I don't think they tell us what to use for cost, but we'll just use C. So if C depends on D, or if C depends on N, then we're going to start out our equation with C equals. So this is going to come from the first sentence. Charges $15 per day, right? That's going to be your coefficient. That's what changes depending on the number of days. So that'd be 15 times N. The flea bath is going to be a one-time deal. That's going to be your constant, right? So that's going to be plus 12. So our function rule, 15n plus 12. So that takes care of the first part. And then it wants to know how much does a 10-day stay cost? And then it wants to know, does a 5-day stay cost half as much? So let's go a part at a time. So how much does a 10-day stay cost? So if D equals 10, in other words, what does C equal? The C would equal 15 times 10. Plug in 10 for your input variable, and then apply the rule. So that is going to be 150 plus 12. That'd be 162. So we can say 10 days is $162. These pets get expensive, I'll tell you. And then is a 5-day stay half as much? Let's just see. You might go ahead and try to think ahead, right? Do you think it would be? It's half as many days, so what do you think? Anyways, we get 15 times 5 plus 12. 15 times 5 is 75, plus 12 is 87. Okay, so 5 days is $87. So if I cut 162 in half or divide it by 2, that'd be 81, right? Or if I double that, it'd be 74, right? So as you can see, it is not half, right? So what is throwing us off from it being half? So the answer is no, it's not half. Why? The answer is because of the one-time fee. Which is for the flea bath, right? So that just says, in other words, this is not a proportional relationship. So remember, proportional lines don't have a y-intercept, or the y-intercept is 0. Okay, I'm going to leave B for you. And then let's go ahead and look at a nonlinear function rule. So we're going to deal in this one with some good old measurement problems. It says write a rule for the area of a rectangle. So right there, that's going to tell you that you need this. Prior knowledge. Area of a rectangle is length times width. And if you don't know a formula, Google it, right? That's an easy way to find it. Surely we know area of a rectangle, though. Length is 5. I'm going to just jot all this down. Nope, length is not 5. I stopped reading too early. Length is 5 more than the width. I'm screwing myself up here. Let's try that again. Trying to go a little bit too quick. Getting a little too cute here. Length is 5 more than the width. So as an expression, that would be L equals 5 more than the width, so W plus 5. What's the area of a rectangle so let's do the first thing first. All right, so we want to basically take this, our original equation or our original formula, and we want to sub in W plus 5 right there. Okay, so that would just be A equals L times W plus 5. And then we want to simplify by just, sorry, I think I subbed in for the wrong place. Yeah, so that'd be W plus 5 times W. I was going to say that doesn't look right. Because it's length times width. So W plus 5 times W. We'll distribute to kind of clean it up a little bit. W times W is W squared. W times plus 5 is plus 5W. So this is based on our formula there. A equals W squared plus 5W. And it says, what is the area of a rectangle when the width is 9 feet? So based on this, if W equals 9, then area equals W, or 9 squared, plus 5 times 9. So I just subbed in 9 every time I saw a W. Now I can use my calculator for the rest. 9 squared is 81. 81 plus 45. Let me make sure I get this right. I advise you just maybe use the calculator there. It looks like it's going to be 126. Since this is area, it's always going to be in square units, so we would say square feet. Okay, that answers the second part. So in order to not take too much else of your time, I would go ahead and just say you try B on your own. Try to do both parts. Try to write the rule and then answer the question. That's what people always want to skip on this. The write the rule part. Don't skip that part. MathXL won't let you. Okay. So like I said, this is one that, a lot of people struggle with. So do not be afraid to ask for help. That should go for any lesson, even if it seems like it should be easy. Sometimes we just need it explained a different way. All right. And this is definitely one of those lessons. So thanks for your time, guys. Hopefully this helps. Your assignment is for this is 4 or 5 MathXL. You guys have a good one.